Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Hello everybody, 2 hours of EFL highlights begins now, and two debutants in the studio. New Lincoln City boss Michael Appleton is here, as his former Coventry and Birmingham striker Gary McSheffrey. They both get a start, and we have 11 championship games to begin, including the 2 from last night. Now at the start of the day, any of the top 8 could have finished at the summit, including Swansea, Leeds and Nottingham Forest. In League One, Michael began his Lincoln career last night with an away trip to Blackpool, while Gary's old boys Coventry hosted the team he now coaches, Doncaster Rovers. Now, in the third tier, this standout fixture was second place Crewe as they headed to third place Cheltenham, while at the bottom Stevenage went looking for their first win at home to Cambridge United. But we start tonight with Preston North End and Bristol City, who are flying this season and went into today's game knowing a victory could take them right to the top. Dan Mason is on the mic.
Davis looking for Barkhausen, who's brought it down beautifully. It's 3-on-3 here for Preston. Here's Harrop. Thought about the shots. Sean Maguire wide of the target. Maguire with 2 goals in his last 2 games. He has the first real sight of goal for the home side. Absolutely wretched conditions at Deepdale. Tommy Rowe prepares to swing in the corner. Williams challenging, and Moore puts it in, and the goal stands. Bristol City lead. Preston complain about the challenge on Declan Rudd. Was Moore impeding the goalkeeper here? Referee Andy Davis says no, and Taylor Moore scores his first for the Robins. Concern for Alex Neil and Preston. Second best to Bristol City so far. Robins have another corner. Harrop just towing it away from Semenya. Josh Brownhill whipping it. There's Weimann. Oh, what about that from Andreas Weimann? Bristol City 2 goals ahead. And Preston, who have won every single home league game this season, are in big trouble. Appeals for a foul on the goalkeeper. It was Moore again. 5 minutes to be added at the end of the first half here as Paul Gallagher delivers the free kick for Preston. Bauer was the target. Here's Maguire trying to turn. Johnson goes down, and it's a penalty to Preston. Referee Mr. Davis very close to it. Daniel Johnson caught by Masengo, who pleads his innocence. Paul Gallagher then for Preston. He gives them hope. Bentley went the right way, but Gallagher's penalty had the necessary power on it. Preston back to 2-1. Weimann was offside, but Preston allowed to continue with Barkhausen. He finds Maguire. Oh, that must be handball, surely. It's a penalty to Preston, their second of the game. Ashley Williams, such an experienced player, but he raises his arms. Daniel Johnson for 2-2, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and Preston are back level. Barely 5 minutes gone in the second half, and maybe that 100% record could be extended. Good penalty by Daniel Johnson. Looking for Jeju again. That's a foul. Bauer penalised for the mid-air collision. Brownhill has plenty to aim at here. He's looking for Williams. There's Baker. Oh, 3-2! Bristol City ahead. A very rare goal for Nathan Baker. Might that mean a rare home defeat for Preston? 3 Bristol City goals, all from set pieces. It puts the Robins in pole position for the result of the day. Darnell Fisher looking for Nugent. There's his first touch. And he's one the free kick too. Oh, something happened there off the ball between Nugent and Baker after the whistle had gone, I think. He's got hold of his leg, Nugent. I think the defender just catches him with a boot. Tempers starting to fray here at Deepdale. Johnson takes it short into Rafferty. There's Bauer, goal for Preston. It's 3-3 here, towering header from Bauer. Is he holding down on his marker though? The goal stands. And Preston back level at 3-3. Bristol City come again with 8 minutes to go in the 90. Here's Marley Watkins. Diédhiou looking for the 1-2. Oh, Diédhiou, he scores! It's not going to count. Whistle's gone. Diédhiou with the ball in the back of the net. But there was a little shove on Patrick Bauer. Enough for the referee to disallow what would surely have been the winning goal.
We thought that the referee had a big part to play today for both teams, to be fair. And there was incidents for both sides that probably could have gone the other way, particularly the third goal that they scored, where we felt Baker was really impeded with two hands on his shoulders. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose those type of decisions, but I thought the players showed real courage today against a side that their home form is pretty much the best in the division at the start of the year, and it was a good game.
A draw was probably the best bet given their unbeaten runs, but not like this. If referee Andy Davies doesn't have a big drink in his hand right now, he's a bigger man than I would be. I'm going to turn you into referees here. Let's start with the first two goals for Bristol City, both involving the goalkeeper, both involving Moore.
Yeah, the first one for me, I think it's a foul. I think Moore's pinning him with his right arm. A couple more players get involved, but then the ball falls to Moore and he knocks it into an open goal.
You could see how a Bristol City fan would disagree with that, but that is the worries of refereeing. What about this one though, Michael?
Well, the second one's an interesting one because obviously Johnson's marking on the inside and it's actually him who knocks the goalkeeper over. So Moore's impeding Johnson, but because the way they set up, sometimes you have the marker on the inside and he's on the outside, he's impeding his own goalkeeper. He's
doing very little though, Moore, the second. Feels like it was just the right side of the line there. So are we saying 1 for 2?
Possibly. I mean, I think the first one, for me, it could have been stopped. I think he is over-impeding. It could have been cancelled out. Definitely.
Goes to show what a referee's got to do when us three have watched about
really
20
difficult.
times.
Second one for me, Moore's just standing his ground. And as he says, Johnson knocked his own keeper over. So one disallowed, one should have been given.
I agree with you, Gary, but I'm scared to say with him in the room. Let's have a look at the two penalty decisions. If you thought that was tough.
I think this one, there's definitely an impediment on his swinging to kick the ball. Johnson's there. Look, you can see the back lift there, and as he's kicking through, although the Bristol City lad's miles away from the ball.
Gary's having that, Michael. You're not having that, are you?
No, I just if I'm the manager in that instance, I'm expecting the referee to point to the spot. Obviously, it's difficult. He's about to get his shot away, and for whatever reason, he won't go to ground like that if there was no contact.
Yeah, OK, good stuff. No debate at all with the second penalty, which brings us now to Bowers' equaliser. Is he pushing down? Is he gaining a little bit extra hang time here on Baker?
I think he gets up early, but then whilst he's in the air, he's gaining some... Yeah, he is. He's salmon-like, isn't he? But he's gaining some hang time up there, definitely. 2 hands on the shoulder. For me, it could have quite easily been disallowed.
Michael, he is up there for about 5 seconds, to be fair.
He is. I suppose he'll be saying that Baker didn't really jump or try to jump, and he was expecting the challenge coming from behind. But, you know, I know he's good in the air, but he's not that good in the air.
Yeah. OK, Diédhiou's disallowed goal, the one that was, and this is why I said Andy Davies deserves a large glass of red. Take a look at this.
Yeah, it's great football around the box, nice 1-2, but just the 2 hands. If we look at it in the slow motion, just the 2-handed push on the chest here. The
push on Bar from the other angle doesn't look like it's there. There you can see it clearly, right?
Yeah, you can. I mean, obviously, we were joking about it before that he almost two-footed it into the back of the net. You know, that would have been a bit of an embarrassment anyway, but no, it was a definite push. Yeah, definite push.
Look how calm and collected you are looking through that in the studio. If that was Lincoln's game next week, you'd be apoplectic, wouldn't you? Who'd want to be a referee?
Yeah, no, you know, I struggle with referees sometimes, and I struggle to keep my temper with them at times. But you know, they have got a tough job. There's no doubt about it. You know, as managers, we want the best decisions and all the right decisions going for us all the time.
Yeah, loads of grey areas today. Now, listen, before we move on, regular viewers will know that the budget for this show is tighter than Michael Owen's hamstring. So we're delighted to say that we skimmed off enough dosh from Ian Holloway's fees to allow us to get out of the studio for a whole month. October Quest, you get the pun, is going to see us spend all 4 Saturdays at games, doing the shows from the grounds. We're going to start the first Saturday of October at Bristol City, then Leighton Orient, then we're going to go to Bolton, which is a great trip for us to make, and finally to the Hawthorn. So really looking forward to that. But let's get on with tonight's football, and we're off to Ewood Park for Blackburn Rovers versus Luton Town, and Paul Walker is your commentator.
Tunnicliffe all the way back to the keeper, who is yet to keep a clean sheet this season. Pearson going long. Awkward for Derek Williams to control. And Panzu for Bree, and now Brown. He's done well. Beautiful cross! Oh, and a goal! James Collins! Luton Town have the lead. Didn't see that one coming. A lovely ball in. And James Collins gobbled it up. Brown's cross, Collins' header, Blackburn 0, Luton 1. Downing. Bennett. Travis coming onto it. Oh, it's a wonderful strike from Lewis Travis! What a hit that was from the Blackburn midfielder. We were right behind it, and as soon as it left his boot, we knew it was in. It is a fabulous hit. Sluga nowhere near it. And Blackburn restore parity. Stuart Downing. Inside it comes, and it just took a deflection, which meant Elliot Bennett couldn't take the ball with him. And now a break for Luton, led by Izzy Brown. Cornick wanting it, and he'll get it, Harry Cornick. And pushed round the post by Walton. Cornick on his right foot. Might just have snuck in, but Walton able to tip it round. Brown takes, Pearson rising! How sweet for Matty Pearson to score against the club that let him go earlier in his career. He has pounds to give Luton the lead. What a moment for Matty Pearson. Travis. Holtby. Now Elliot Bennett. Danny Graham! It's his first touch, isn't it? Sluga equal to it, having just come on from the bench. Danny Graham almost making an immediate impact. Holtby's corner. Keeper came. Back in from Downing. Bennett. Holtby delivers. And in off Bradley Dack. Blackburn level again. But will this stand? There is Bradley Dack in an offside position. What will be the decision? Offside is the call. This will give us a better view. Keep your eye on number 23, Bradley Dack. Just there. He is definitely offside. It ends here. Blackburn Rovers 1, Luton Town 2.
Graham, apart from the obvious 3 points, what pleased you most about that 90 minutes plus injury time?
Many things, Colin, really. The first one that springs to mind is the character of the players, the ability to carry out the same consistent behaviour in terms of physical and mental performance for for 95 minutes. We spoke about that a lot this week. And I think it's easy to do that when you're winning. I challenged them at half-time when it was level. Can we perform consistently? And I think we did that. Character for sure, but it's also looking for the class as you move up into the second-tier English football. James Collins jumps out straight away of how he's adapted the Championship, but Harry Cornick as well, chipping in with assists and goals. That's just two players who've shown they can absolutely cut it at this level. Absolutely, Colin, and obviously I'm still getting to know these boys and what they can bring to the table, and every time you challenge them, they seem to go up a level, and then building a team around our strengths and making sure that you cover your weaknesses, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's took a bit of time, and I'm not saying we're there for 1 second, but we will endeavour to keep working towards it. I said right at the beginning of my job, my remit is to max our players out, and I still won't go away from that, and today was another step forward. Final question for you. You spent over a decade taking the easy road, sitting in the coaching staff, making sure you weren't number one in the firing line. How are you finding it now? Are the highs higher and the lows lower? It depends what moment you catch me in the week, Colin. There's been moments while I've been manager I thought, why did I ever leave being a number two? But it was something I was ready for. It's something I needed in my life. And nobody knows if you're going to be successful or not, but all you can guarantee is giving everything you've got. And my conscience is clear to this point. It's not an easy task. We are Little Luton in this league. That's the truth. Coming to Blackburn and Cardiff and Sheffield Wednesday and other grounds we've gone to has been a big step. But when you've got a set of players like I've got, and they're prepared to roll their sleeves up, you've got a chance. Graham, thanks so much. Good luck with the rest of the season. Thanks, Colin. Michael, I think it's 6 years working as a coach before stepping into a number one role. And we hear all the time, great number two. I'm sure he'd be a great number one. How far removed in reality are the roles?
I think they are. I think the chalk and cheese. It's similar to from going from a player into the coaching side of things. You've got all these fantastic ideas, but being able to get them across to players at the right time is difficult. Management's about timing, making sure you get them right moments at the right time, pick the times to go in and deal with stuff, to take a step back and let your assistant and other coaches do it. Managing upwards can be difficult, and obviously the media is important. You have to be able to get that message. Graham mentioned about having the right message and being consistent with the mentality and the physical side of things. OK, moving on, loads to get in. So after the break, 4 more Championship games and all the chaos that brings. And Derby just glad to be back on the pitch.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Family favourites fit for every kitchen. At Asda, we've got thousands of rollbacks on all these cupboard fillers.
Money, just because I'm lying on a sunbed doesn't mean I don't know exactly what you're doing. Alfie, you thought I'd be too distracted, didn't you? What with 2 kids and my mum to keep an eye on? Well, you're wrong. Now I see where every penny of you goes. Your days of hide and seek are over, Money. That's our game, not yours. The new spending feature in the Barclays app. Make money work for you.
The sale is now on at Curry's PC World.
Save £70 on these Hoover 8kg washers. Larger load, supersized 10kg model, just £40 more. Save up to £200 on these LG 4K smart TVs. Cinema-like picture and Google Assistant built in from just $349. And you can get 18 months interest-free credit on Dyson's latest V11 cordless vacuum cleaners. The new LCD screen shows both runtime and performance, all from under £30 per month. At Curry's PC World.
Are you totally ready for a healthier mouth? New Colgate Total toothpaste with a breakthrough formula helps fight bacteria on your whole mouth so that your teeth, tongue, cheeks and gums are protected for up to 12 hours. New Colgate Total also delivers effective enamel protection and cares for sensitive teeth. New Colgate Total for whole mouth health.
Tracy, I'm here to take you out for a walk. But I'm not with Direct Line.
And that is why you've been waiting around for someone else to fix your problem, instead of enjoying a duck à l'orange with Sharon.
So saving Mr. Watkins here. When you realize you've got balance, and man, you missed out on becoming Tracy on Ice, all because you're not with Direct Line.
With Xero accounting software, you can spend less time on your VAT return and more on what you love. Xero. Get making tax digital ready.
New Muller Corner recipe. The most Mullerlicious corner ever. It's thicker, creamier tasting, and a source of protein.
She's got her eye on something more than gold.
New Muller Corner recipe. So Mullerlicious, you just have to have it.
Dyson's new cord-free vacuum, powered by the latest Dyson digital motor, has a display that shows remaining runtime, and a sensor in the cleaner head automatically adjusts suction power across floor types to deep clean your home.
And the business of chip.
Oh, shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Ooh.
Did somebody say just eat?
Did somebody say just eat? Yeah, yeah.
Did somebody say just eat?
She's not that hungry.
Just kidding.
Did somebody say just eat?
A-Class with Mercedes Me from £269 per month.
It can be hard to keep paint looking good. That was worth thinking about. So we created Good Home Paints, premium quality at an affordable price. Good Home, always simplifying. Find it at B&Q.
You've done it all. You've broken every code and pulled the rebel to the floor.
4.3 million men in the UK experience erectile problems. Viagra Connect is available without prescription.
Hello? They got a lead for you. He's got a 1946 knucklehead that he might be willing to part with at the right price.
I don't want to walk off this property without this knucklehead.
Brand new American Pickers, Tuesday at 10 on Quest.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. Soon we'll be watching Gary Monk taking his new club Sheffield Wednesday back to his old club Borough, and Swansea against Reading. But before that, Charlton Athletic welcome pre-season favourites Leeds United.
4 league wins out of 4 for Leeds United on their travels. With Charlton seemingly losing some of their early momentum, this was the toughest possible fixture for the Addicks, who needed Dylan Phillips to bow them out when Ben White threatened to get Marcelo Bielsa's side off to a flying start. His team don't have many flaws, but corners may just be their Achilles heel. After Tom Lockyer's shot caused chaos, the home side had the lead. Lockyer receiving the most acclaim for a goal widely credited to Macaulay Bonne, though in the wrestling match, Leeds' Stuart Dallas may well have had the unfortunate final touch. A lot easier to be certain who made the connection in the next major incident. Patrick Bamford summing up United's frustration with a hack at Conor Gallagher that had referee John Brooks reaching for his pocket, and to the surprise of many in the stadium, producing a yellow card by way of punishment. It could have been worse for the forward. Until this match, Leeds hadn't even conceded a goal on the road since the opening weekend. White flicked a header just past the post as they launched a concerted bid to make their 72% possession count for something. Charlton were battling in the image of boss Lee Bowyer, a dogged midfielder in his day for both these clubs, but it seemed increasingly impossible they could make it to the finish unscathed when Helder Costa could only watch Eddie Nketiah's cross whistle past him. Bowyer's men were still surviving by the skin of their teeth deep in stoppage time. Sam Field's fantastic block kept out Adam Forshaw as Charlton bounced back impressively from successive defeats.
Everyone plays a part, you know. It starts from the top and works its way down. I think our front two worked so hard for the team. But it's going to be, we're playing against the best team, in my eyes, the best team in the league. So we're going to have our backs against the wall at times, and our goalie's going to have to make saves. But thankfully for us, he done that today, and to keep a clean sheet against a very good Leeds side, I'm over the moon.
After an outstanding August, it's been a sluggish September so far for the Swans. No goals and no wins in their last two, but 3 minutes gone here, and Borja Baston decided to change all of that. The Spanish striker is a revitalised force this season with 6 goals in 9 games, and his partnership up front with Andre Ayew is one of the main reasons the Welsh side have made such a strong start. The same can't be said of Reading, who arrived in South Wales having lost their last 4, but they should have been level when George Puskás was uncharacteristically generous in front of goal. Steve Cooper's side really caught the eye with their smooth passing, and what a goal this would have been had George Byer's effort crept the other side of the post. Despite all he's contributed with his assists this campaign, Ayew is still waiting for his first championship goal of the season, which might have arrived but for the quick thinking of Rafael Cabral. And that save really mattered because it kept the Royals in the hunt for a point, which is exactly what they took back down the M4, thanks to a last-minute strike from Andy Yeardon. A valuable point for them in a fixture that hasn't traditionally been a happy one for the Berkshire side, but a frustrating afternoon for Cooper and co, as his men missed the chance to go top.
We're a young team that's growing, and we've got to be good at dealing with defining moments, and we know that, and we are getting better at it. So we just need to stick to the plan and continue to believe in what we're doing, and hopefully we can deal with the end of games better than what we've done in the last 2 here at the Liberty.
Described as a pantomime villain in the local media, Gary Monk has lost all 3 meetings with his old club when at Birmingham. It was one of his former midfielders who gave him a helping hand, with Borough's second own goal in as many matches. Monk barely selected Adam Clayton during his time at Middlesbrough. Jonathan Woodgate looked on with concern, with Barry Bannon's set-piece deliveries causing chaos. Dominic Iorfa put Sheffield Wednesday 2 up. Monk had refused to talk about his old club before the match, but Woodgate claimed he didn't do much talking in his 6 months with Borough either. Woodgate was coaching with the under-18s back then and revealed Monk was an elusive character. While some elusive marking allowed Paddy McNair time and space for an emphatic finish, Middlesbrough back in it with just 19 minutes gone. Now, Atty New-Hughes way more than just a goal scorer. He's been acting as a translator for German defender Julian Buerner, and he continued his selfless ways by setting up Adam Reach to score against his old club. The player born in County Durham scoring his first away goal since Boxing Day, also against Middlesbrough. Reach then helped to put the game out of reach. His cross was perfect for informed Stephen Fletcher to score his 4th goal in his last 6 games. Woodgate admits he sought advice from our very own Ian Holloway recently. He might be back on the phone for more help after a hapless first half in which Wednesday tore them apart with ease. One of the biggest criticisms of Monk's time at the Riverside was his big spending summer in 2017, but 2 of his signings nearly got Borough back in it. Marvin Johnson setting up Britt Assombalonga, who failed to finish. He may have cost 15 million, but Assombalonga has averaged a goal in nearly every 2 starts since. That shouldn't disguise the Owls' dominance, though. Moses Odubajo almost added a 5th, with what would have been his first goal in over 4.5 years. Darren Randolph, another player signed by Monk, showing why he was named in the Championship Team of the Year. Monk may have got used to the Borough boos in his time on Teesside, but for once, they weren't for his side with the full-time whistle.
I want people to really sweat for this shirt and blood and everything. You should be proud to play for this club. In the first half, we didn't show that.
Sheffield Wednesday certainly did, and for a new manager, there's 3 games in and undefeated. But it's not just that dead cat bounce, as they call it, when you get a new manager for Gary Monk. You think this is the right squad for him as well, don't you, Gary?
Yeah, I think he's had some really good jobs in the Championship, but I think the squad he's inherited at Sheffield Wednesday is up there with the best players. He's had the likes of Bannon, Reach and Fletcher. You know, they can all play them roles and the tactics he'll want to play, and they'll know it to a T. And you know, he's inherited a really good group.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 for Fletcher now. Great resilience for Reading, much needed point for Swansea. I've concentrated. We saw that again today on AU and Baston, who were the raggy dolls almost. No one wanted them anymore. He's brought them back into the fold. But you actually like them defensively. You were going on about it this afternoon a lot, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been pretty resolute, to be fair, and they've been steady. You know, since the start of the season. They've got a back four of obviously Norton and Roberts. Obviously, everyone speaks so highly of Roberts. Yeah. But even in the centre of defence, Van der Horn with the experience and young Joe Rodon, who's obviously done ever so well with Wales. So.
And a really good win for Charlton. Big win for Charlton. And Bond's good, isn't he? Great story.
Yeah, prolific at the National League last year for Leyton Orient. He's been given an opportunity to start today. Lyle Taylor's injury, and you know he's effective, and he's there nearly to score the goal, but it looks like an own goal to me.
Yeah, we're not sure whether he's going to get that. What we are sure of is same old story with Leeds. The fans don't need us to tell them. The stats are there, the possession, the shots on goal, and yet again, not the 3 points. We know they've got the manager. We know they've got the tactics. Honest answer from both of you. Is this squad strong enough to get automatically promoted from what we've seen so far this season?
Well, I don't want to steal Gary's thunder, but ultimately, you know, that, like I said, they're prolific between both boxes, but they do miss that goal scorer. There's no doubt about it. I think you look at a Charlie Austin at West Brom, that's the type they'll be looking at.
For me, a Dwight Gale type player, yeah. I think they missed that last year as well. That's what didn't get them over the line, and that's going to be their Achilles heel this year as well. OK, we move on to Pride Park, where Derby's fans were full of anything other than pride, and we're likely to be in a very vocal mood after a terrible week for the club off the pitch. At the ground, Philip Cocu had some team news of interest. Tom Huddleston had been named the new captain on Thursday, but despite him starting today, the armband went to Curtis Davis.
Derby chairman Mel Morris made a pre-match apology for the incident which left club captain Richard Keogh injured in a car accident and teammates Mason Bennett and Tom Lawrence charged with drink driving. But what the fans really wanted was a response from their team, and a player making a fresh and flying start obliged. Chris Martin in the 11 for the first time since December 2017 and scoring his second goal in as many games in just the second minute. Dwayne Holmes with the impressive assist. Lee Camp caught on his heels. The rest of the first half was relatively flat-footed, although Birmingham thought they had a route back into the game courtesy of Scott Malone's arm. Referee Simon Hooper, who incurred Derby's wrath when he refereed these teams at St Andrews last season, gave them the benefit of the doubt this time. A smack in the face for Blues striker Alvaro Jimenez. And 5 minutes after the break, the home side's luck held again. Mark Roberts' tumble helping Martin on his way. And when he couldn't complete the journey, Martin Waghorn was ready to take over. Derby surely set for their first home win of the season and a first anywhere since the opening day. After a checkered few years at the club for Martin, it seemed that the Rams had a new hero just when they needed one. And finally, something for Pride Park to smile about. But almost immediately, Birmingham bounced back. Dan Crowley called Keller Roos into acrobatic action. And the corner that followed evaded the county keeper completely. Crowley's delivery glanced by Gary Gardner, and Derby's moment of redemption was now in doubt. And even more so 3 minutes later. Jack Magoma's ball into the box caused some county consternation, and Tom Huddleston's attempted clearance was returned with significant interest by Ivan Sunjic. The Croatian's first repayment on his £6 million summer price tag from Dinamo Zagreb. After that, the emotional demands of a traumatic few days seemed to be catching up with Derby in the face of a Blues onslaught. Waghorn surrendered possession, and Christian Bielik's attempt to win it back merely sent Jimenez flying. Derby could have no complaints with Mr. Hooper's decision this time, which gave Lukas Jutkovic the chance to extend a record of 8 goals in 12 league games against them. Roos superbly ensured that he didn't do so, and a week every Ram will want to forget was heading for one more twist. With 15 minutes left, Jack Marriott's determination deserved the luck of the bounce. And Jamie Patterson was the cool head this club really needed. His first goal on loan from Bristol City meant a first win for Derby in 8 league games. But of course this one meant rather more than merely 3 points.
little bit nervousness in our team, maybe of all the events, what happened this week. The reaction of the team towards the fans, towards the club was very important. We showed a very good attitude and respond what we stand for.
Well, listen, off the pitch is probably what we have to concentrate on here. I'm not going to condescend to you by asking you to condemn the obvious. I want you to talk me through, from the manager's point of view, the job on Philip Cocu's hands after everything that happened.
Yeah, it's obviously a very difficult situation to be in. He'll be going home this evening after what happened during the week, being a very, very happy man, knowing that they've reacted in the right way and they've got the win.
Gary, do you understand why a lot of football fans get so kind of irate when they see things happen like this? Because of the life of a football player. You've just got one job. Don't do something stupid, you know, and then you get the action that just produces this kind of, we're like this.
Of course you do, yeah. You know, we're in a privileged profession, and the fans just ask that you live right and you dedicate your life to your career, really, because it can be over like that, and it really can be. It goes so fast, so you know you have to be more professional than what they have been this week.
Well, maybe the one thing people aren't talking about is Keogh's career could be over like that. We're talking over 40 games a season for the last. This is a player that doesn't get injured, and at his age, I mean, out for this season, might be back next season, be 35. Yes,
I've played with him. You know, he's for about 6 seasons on the spin. He got Player of the Season at 3 different clubs. So you know, his experience is going to be. It's going to be a big loss for them this season.
It's idiocy. That's the only word kind of sums it up. Right, 4 more championship games still to come. We'll be bringing you all of the 65 goals from Leagues 1 and 2 as well. If you tune out now, we're going to send someone around your house.
Did you bring the bibs?
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Remarkable. She's had a naked bar, that's all.
What, this little thing?
That little thing tastes like a blueberry muffin, but it's nothing more than smooshed up fruit and nuts. No! OK, all done. Just watch out for all the other flavours. There's more flavours.
Mind blown.
Ryanair, Europe's low fares, low CO2 emissions airline from just $14.99. Book Ryanair today.
In 1962, the US and Soviet Union brought us to the brink of nuclear annihilation. Maybe things would have been settled more peacefully if everyone had slept better. Sadly, none of this happened, because the Simba hybrid mattress with 5 layers of comfort and microspring technology didn't exist until today. Simba, made for peace.
Tracy, I'm here to take you out for a walk.
But I'm not with Direct Line.
And that is why you've been waiting around for someone else to fix your problem, instead of enjoying a duck à l'orange with Sharon. So saving Mr. Watkins here, when you realize you've got balance, and bam, you missed out on becoming Tracy on Ice, all because you're not with Direct Line.
There are really 4 dimensions, 3 which we will call the 3 planes of space, and a 4th, time.
If you alarm a weasel, it will cheerfully spray you in the face with foul-smelling bum oil.
That night, another invisible missile started on its way to the Earth from Mars.
What can I say about this? Just an ordinary-looking lady and big hands. Mountains behind her, so Not Croydon. I get the impression that she weren't the painter's first choice. This is hard. It's kind of beige.
Words don't really do it justice, do they? Don't lose the picture. 50% of sight loss is avoidable. Search Specsaver's free eye test online.
She ain't got no eyebrows.
Ah, Norway, land of the midnight sun, the splendour of the fjords, the majesty of the glaciers. But first, some ice in my vodka martini.
Yes, very good.
7-night holidays on our new ship Iona from $699 per person. P&O Cruises.
This is the life.
Would you know what you were looking for? If it heightened your senses. It's the moment everything becomes clear. The moment when you just connect. Meet the one.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. The lunchtime kickoff saw two teams in the playoffs as West Brom journeyed to the Kiyan Prince to face QPR. John Driscoll called this one.
Furlong's throw to Pereira. The Brazilian very easy on the ball, and he's found the angle of pass. It's super stuff from West Bromwich Albion. It's Chet Livermore making a burst into the penalty area, and they've won it back high up the pitch as well. And a sliding challenge from Barbet. It's potentially an awkward moment there for Darnell Furlong. Good football this from the Baggies. Terrific vision there from Mateus Pereira. And they've taken it short again, and it's fizzed across the face of the goal. And how did that not end up with a touch from anyone who was in there? Fired across by Diangana. Austin was the closest. Not the entertainment that we were hoping for. Here's Ferguson. He's been with the club since the age of 8. Driving into a lot of space here. Will he fancy a shot? Yes, he will! And what a shot! What a goal from the teenager! It's his first ever senior goal, and what a way to score it! Well, he collected the ball in his own half. They back away. They have a think about closing him down. Nobody does. And that's the punishment. Lumley couldn't get down. And the ball has ended up in that bottom corner. Now Queen's Park Rangers have to react. West Bromwich Albion in the unusual position of taking the lead. And Chair again. No foul by Livermore. Break on for West Bromwich Albion. The flag is down, and it stays down. Now then, this could be a big, big call. And the referee goes straight for his notebook, and Barbet will be sent off here. No other option really for the referee. Robson Kanu was away. First touch was good enough, and he shielded the ball from Barbet, who brought him down. This would surely wrap it up for the 11 men. It is Pereira, and it's in. Well, the wall was no kind of barrier at all. And Pereira has capped off a super performance. But he found the gap, and he found the corner. This has been kept in by Furlong, and it goes into the box again for Robson Kanu. Super save. Brilliant work. And Robson Kanu still a threat, and he couldn't make clean contact second time. And West Brom under Slaven Bilic playing some good football and getting their rewards as well. Queen's Park Rangers 0, West Brom 2.
I've been at this club for a while, and I've been dreaming of this moment for years, trust me, for years. So it means the world, yeah.
And you picked it up in your own half. At what point did you decide, right, I'm going to shoot here?
They gave me space. So I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to drive into it. And Mum and Dad always told me to shoot, so I decided to shoot this time, and it paid off.
QPR looking for 5 consecutive wins for the first time in ages, but West Brom are flying and undefeated. And I love the fact Nathan's mum and dad told him to shoot more. That's brilliant. Who needs a manager, Gary?
Exactly, just listen to your mum, don't you? No, he's a great story this season, isn't he? Through lack of players and injuries, he wouldn't have probably got an opportunity yet, but he's grasped it right back, left back, and he's actually centre half through his youth development, isn't he? But he's took it like a duck to water.
Not the first centre half we're going to see scoring, by the way, before we get off air, but an 8-year-old as well. Fans absolutely love that, Michael. And I suppose from a manager's point of view, you want those players coming through that understand the culture of a club.
Yeah, and he was part of a good group last season who did really well in the FA Youth Cup. And they got beat by Chelsea in the end, but there's 2 or 3 who are in the same group who will be pushing and knocking on the door pretty soon.
OK, 2 more Championship games now, ending at bottom club Huddersfield, but starting at the K-Com and a tale of 2 cities.
Hull City picked up their first Championship clean sheet of the season last week, but that was on the road with a 3-0 win at Luton. They still haven't recorded one at home and were under early pressure from Cardiff when Junior Hoylett hit the crossbar just 12 minutes in. In fact, the last time Hull managed to stop the visitors to the K-Com scoring was way back in March, so no surprise that Cardiff fancied their chances. Some good news broke this week for Tigers boss Grant McCann. Kamil Grzycki has told reporters in his native Poland that he's ready to commit the next 2 years of his career to Hull. And in this form, that new contract can't come quickly enough. Just before half-time, he scored for the 3rd game in a row. Even at 31, he wouldn't be short of offers if Hull can't convince him to stay. 10 minutes into the second half, and Hull did what they seemingly always do at home, conceding again. Leandro Bacuna with a cross that Robert Glatzel steered beyond George Long. The German has had a slow start to life in England since his summer move, but the number 9 has now scored in the last 2 matches he's started. With plenty of the game still left to play, Neil Warnock's men had a chance to push on and claim their first win on the road this campaign, but it was Hull who thought they'd won it. In the 89th minute, Jared Bowen's free kick was brilliantly flicked in by Jordy Device, the big centre-half picking the perfect moment to score his first of the season. With Warnock undoubtedly still checking his watch, his side equalised 2 minutes into added-on time. Alex Smithy's big clearance headed on and into the path of Danny Ward. The striker still had plenty to do, but again the defensive frailties of Hull City were exposed as the substitute calmly took his chance. There was still time for one more effort from the home side. Bowen, the creator, as he set up George Honeyman, who went for power over placement and found a Cardiff body rather than the back of the net. Warnock's team have now drawn 3 of their last 4.
For both clubs at the John Smith Stadium, the first of back-to-back games against teams finding the going tough so far. A really important few days ahead, so what a boost for Huddersfield Town to see Fraser Campbell tuck away his first goal for the Terriers, and their first in a home league match for a month and a half. One teed up by an unselfish assist from Carlan Grant. Real potential now for new manager Danny Cowley to get off the mark in his 3rd game in charge, though far from a foregone conclusion with 3/4 of the match remaining. It took Kamil Grabara's superb save from Ryan Leonard to keep Huddersfield ahead. There was no time for the poll to dwell on that, with the big men piling on the pressure from the corner. And the keeper's good work was undone when he dropped the ball straight to Millwall's Matt Smith. One of the few who's been giving the Lions some bite, involved in 5 of the club's last 6 league goals, setting up 2 and scoring 3. A sickener for Huddersfield, who last won a match way back in February. But their hopes of mounting a final push improved when Adama Diakhaby was sent flying 10 minutes from time, earning Shane Ferguson a match-ending 2nd caution. Against the remaining 10 men, Diakhaby himself had the chance to strike the decisive blow. No joy, but Huddersfield had at least doubled their points tally for the season. Millwall's wait for a league win moves on to 6 matches.
2 draws and a lot covered by the commentators and the voiceover, so I want to stick to Cardiff for a minute. Gary, they're unbeaten in 6. 4 of those have been draws. There's been a lot of resilience, and I'm just not sure what way to fall. I'm sure a lot of people watching this are the same, so come on, help us out. What's Cardiff's season shaping up like?
I think they're going to be difficult to beat. You know, they've got solid defenders for me, a good back 4, 2 good centre-halves. I just think in the final third at the minute, the end product's not quite there. And listen, when that does come and the confidence turns, then there could be a real threat in the division. But at the minute, in the final third, they're just not cutting it.
And of course, it's Neil Warnock, who you've had many a tussle with. On a Friday, when you're facing Neil Warnock the next day, do you sleep well, excited about it as a manager, Michael, or is it a sleepless night?
No, I'm more excited. You know, like I say, I think you can come across young coaches similar to yourself, or you can come across the ones that have got proven records and been really successful. And Neil's definitely up there with them now.
OK, how do you fancy your prospects this season? Because, as we're saying, it's a story yet to be told. Listen, season before last, nobody was tipping them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last little bit of footage we've seen typifies, you know, what Cardiff City are all about. They know how to get a result in a game, whether that's winning a game or drawing it.
OK. Right, there were 2 games last night. Let's start with Fulham against Wigan, and then we'll get on to Stoke and Forest.
Fulham hadn't won in the Championship in over a month, but the early signs at Craven Cottage were encouraging that a 5-match winless streak was about to end. Tom Cairney found Anthony Knockaert, who couldn't quite find the finishing touch. The Londoners were certainly enjoying some success down the Wigan right, and another foray involving Knockaert created another chance, this time for the lurking Alexander Mitrovic. The home side had to wait until just after half-time for the breakthrough from a player whose wait for a goal had been even longer. Joe Bryan hadn't scored in over a year. Indeed, that was his first league effort for Fulham, which made it even sweeter. So far, so good then for the home faithful, certainly less so for those hardy souls who'd made the long journey down from the northwest on a Friday. But there were signs that a fight back might be stirring when Nathan Byrne and Lee Evans combined. The Latics' biggest problem, though, was trying to keep Knockaert quiet. The Fulham winger was in the mood, and he so nearly doubled their lead with a typically dazzling effort. Although wins have been elusive in recent weeks, Fulham boss Scott Parker feels the performances from his players have been good, and they were certainly on song here as another chance came and went for Mitrovic. Still, Parker's men would have the final word, and it stemmed inevitably from the work of Knockaert. Wigan found it difficult to keep him quiet all night, and although he didn't add the final flourish, Cairney made sure that he did. That's 2 goals in 2 games for him, but more importantly, 3 points to keep the Londoners involved in the playoff conversation.
Kearney doing what Kearney does and never gets sick of saying it. Unfortunately, on Friday night, Stoke doing what Stoke have done so far this season as well. And listen, Gary, from Gregory's goal on 10 minutes to their general overall play early on in this game in the first half an hour, there were so many good signs, but then yet again it snuck in. Sloppiness at the back and individual errors. And now Nathan Jones sounds like he's talking on repeat, even though we should say at the equaliser there, a hint offside for Graven.
Yeah, they started really well, you know. They come out the blocks really sharp, got the goal ahead, and one thing you can't do as a manager, and Mike will tell you, you do all your prep, but you can't account for individual errors, can you? And it's hard to get the confidence up after that.
It certainly is, but that's the big thing. You want to go ahead in games. You know, when you're on a poor run, you want to go ahead in games and give yourself a chance to win. And they've done that. And they've done it on a couple of occasions. Now the difficulty is to try and pick a group of players up who have done that on a couple of occasions and still fall short. That's when you really, earn your bread.
I think McLean's been certainly earning his bread the last few weeks in bad times, giving it everything and pulling it back there. The opposite is Nottingham Forest, top of the Championship for the first time in, I think it was 5 years with that, and their away form is just staggering.
Yeah, they've got a real threat. Their front three are really good. You know, Amiobi, Graban, Joe Lolly. Lolly was exceptional last year, and he's took it into this season as well. And you know, if they can be strong at the back, they'll always have them goal scorers in the team to nick the goals.
Yeah, so Forest fans went to bed on Friday night top. It didn't last long, but still top for the first time in 5 years. As it stands now, unbeaten West Brom are now the leaders after defeats for Leeds and a draw for Swansea. In fact, we had 3 different teams at the top of the Championship from this morning until now. It's tight, 3 points, just separating 9 sides. Stoke and Huddersfield remain winless, but it's the Potters who dropped to the bottom after the Terriers picked up that first point under Danny Cowley. OK, so much to go through in the Championship, even more in League One and League Two. A whole hour is coming your way, including Michael's opening night for Lincoln. He's ready.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Manny, do you know what success sounds like? This. It's not having to sneak past your parents' room at 33. Mum and Dad have done their bit. And you, Manny, you finally came good. But there's still bills to pay and mouths to feed. Right, Dave? We're only just getting started.
The Barclays Family Springboard Mortgage. Make money work for you.
The sale is now on at Curry's PC World.
Save £70 on these Hoover 8kg washers. Larger load, supersized 10kg model just £40 more. Save up to £200 on these LG 4K smart TVs. Cinema-like picture and Google Assistant built in from just $349. And you can get 18 months interest-free credit on Dyson's latest V11 cordless vacuum cleaners. The new LCD screen shows both runtime and performance, all from under £30 per month. At Curry's PC World.
You've done it all. You've broken every code and pulled the rebel to the floor.
4.3 million men in the UK experience erectile problems. Viagra Connect is available without prescription.
Would you know what you were looking for? If it heightened your senses. It's the moment everything becomes clear. The moment when you just connect. Meet the one.
Tracy, I'm here to take you out for a walk.
But I'm not with Direct Line.
And that is why you've been waiting around for someone else to fix your problem, instead of enjoying a duck à l'orange with Sharon. So saving Mr. Watkins here. When you realize you've got balance, and bam! You missed out on becoming Tracy on Ice, all because you're not with Direct Line.
When it comes to your home, choosing colours can be tricky. That was worth thinking about. So we created 80 good home colours that work together and with any home. Good home, always simplifying. Find it at B&Q.
Most important part of your teeth is the enamel, the white, hard, shining armour of protection all around your teeth. When that wears away, the underlayer, which is slightly yellower, starts to show through, and that becomes a little bit darker. I recommend Pro Enamel because it strengthens the enamel you have and it helps to protect the enamel.
Well, I wear my clothes like this because I can. And I wear my hair like this because I can. And I walk around like this because I can. And I do my thing like this because it's who I am. My road ain't your road, it's just unknown. Just where I'm going, where I do my thing.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. Because of Mr. Appleton, we begin our League One coverage, of course, at Bloomfield Road to see how Michael got on in his first game in charge of Lincoln City. Mikey Pereira is your commentator.
Just a scamper forward here for the hosts. Support on the right. Ball sent in. Arrives here for Scannell. And that is a beauty. Well, it was nice build-up play down the right. Feeney dragging the ball back. And there's no stopping that. How can Lincoln respond after that early setback? Anderson, twisting and turning, does well. Chance to get the strike away. That's a very good stop. And it was almost an instant response. Blackpool looking to stay on the front foot here. There's Feeney. Just trying to work himself a little bit of space, a couple of step-overs. Thompson. That's wonderfully done by Thompson! Beautifully done. How well he has crafted that goal for himself. A bit of trickery does the damage there. Feeney finding Thompson. And he does the rest. How good is that? And a cool finish to match. It's been a lively encounter this already. Still plenty the first half to go. It's fired across. And Lincoln back in business. Jack Payne with the finish. And they have half the deficit. And it gives those travelling fans something to celebrate in this first half. Flicked on. Andrade trying to win it back, but Blackpool still have it. Tries to get the strike away, and it's taken a big deflection. Blackpool looking for that two-goal cushion again. Still going in search of this all-important third goal, Blackpool. Ball sent across. It might come here. What a save that is. Well, that is a brilliant stop. Entertaining game, this one tonight. It's finished here. Blackpool 2, Lincoln 1.
Well, I know you want to be a gentleman here and talk about Blackpool first. What in particular last night done for you?
Yeah, I think obviously they're the side that are going well at the minute. They're up there for a reason, on merit. I think the two players stand out, so definitely probably Thompson, who scored the first goal, great little bit of skill, but the pick of the bunch was probably Warren Feeney. He's obviously been in a situation where I think he's got, is it 10 assists this year already?
10 assists.
That's some records so far, and obviously got some decent firepower.
Yeah, see, it's easy to get your Feeneys mixed up. Liam, of course.
Feeney, I do apologise.
You know, that's my fault, because I talked about Warren Feeney in the office earlier today. Listen, 21 minutes, so you're 2-0 down, and you were sitting in the stands last week. You watched you get beat 6-0. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, obviously, you know, you think to yourself, God, it's going to be a long night tonight. But, you know, one of the things that we spoke about during the week was being resolute, making sure that if we had to deal with disappointment, deal with it really well. Try and stay in the game. They've had a situation over the last 3 years where they've been really, really successful. So there must have been periods where they were down in games and they stayed in and they got something out of them. And we nearly did it again last night.
This was always going to be a tougher season under the Cowleys or under yourself. So manage the expectations here. What have the board said to you coming in? What's this season all about? Yeah,
the message is very, very clear. You know, it's the first time the football club's been in League One for 21 years. So it's about being stable, making sure there's stability at the football club this year before we look to improve and move on. So given that, you say over, say, 2.5 seasons, if you count this as a half season, survival this year and just steadying the ship, progression and then promotion. Will that mean when you get into the transfer market, you look a bit younger, players who you can bring through with you? You've done that before at other clubs. Yeah, I think that's where I had a little bit of success. We've got some really good experienced players in the group. We've got some players on loan, but we want to get a situation at the football club where we have our young players and they're ours. We're not relying too much on other clubs' players. And I do believe that little mix and that balance is a good way and will take us a long way to try to get out of the division.
Probably the most difficult question. You know, we saw the season tick numbers, the treble at the club, and we saw, you know, Lincoln just move up, not just divisions, but the fan base grow, all under the Cowleys. This is the Cowleys Lincoln City. How do you get out of that shadow? How do you make them Appleton's Lincoln City?
I think just try and keep moving forward and talking about what we're going to do next, how we can improve, consistent making sure that my message is consistent all the time, trying to get the fans in a situation where they like what they see on the pitch, because you know they're an incredible support. The fans have been absolutely magnificent in the games that I've seen so far.
Okay, good stuff. Right, our first roundup takes us to the top of the League One table. It finishes with the Gary McSheffrey derby, as nobody ever calls it, Coventry versus Doncaster Rovers. But we begin at Ipswich.
All the build-up to this one was centred around Ipswich striker James Norwood facing his old side, but it was his new teammate Luke Garbett who opened the scoring for Ipswich with a fierce free kick. Norwood scored 29 times for Rovers last season, and the man tasked with making up for those missing goals is Stephen Payne. His equaliser before half-time was his 4th in 9 appearances. That meant no clean sheet for Ipswich and ended their hopes of securing 6 in a row for the first time in their history. As much as that must have been a disappointment, there was still a game to be won, and Paul Lambert's side came out firing after the break. Caden Jackson pouncing after another clever free kick from Garbett was spilled into his path. Just after the hour mark, the league leaders created some breathing space. Jackson getting the better of 2 defenders. His finish not quite up to the build-up, but that didn't matter as John Nolan headed into an empty net. Cause for celebration for the Tractor Boys fans, who were well on course for maintaining their record as one of only 2 unbeaten sides in League One. But the best was yet to come. A stunning individual strike from Kane Vincent-Young made it 4-1. That's back-to-back goals for the 23-year-old, who Lambert says is playing at the very top of his game. Ipswich are still very much top of the league.
Taking Manchester United to penalties at Old Trafford is all very well, but what Rochdale really needed was an upgrade on 1 win in 8 league games. Instead, they completely lost track of Fred Onyedinma 16 minutes in, and one of League One's big boys this season were on top. Only 1 league defeat so far for Wycombe, and when Giles Phillips placed his throw onto the considerable head of Adi Akinfenwa, the prospects of a second were all but gone, the 37-year-old moving more in his celebrations than he did for the goal. With that, Rochdale had crashed emphatically back to earth after their midweek heroics, but Jim McNulty's header from Jimmy Ryan's corner might have changed things just before half-time. Instead, Wycombe worked a little bit harder and wrapped up a win with room to spare 13 minutes from time. Jack Grimmer forayed forward as Dale's defence backpedalled. Substitute Josh Parker was almost invited to shoot, and when he eventually did, his bad luck worked out nicely for Onyedinma. Somewhat surprisingly, this was Wycombe's first away win of the season.
They've got a fantastic result midweek at Man United, so we knew that we had to come here and be at our best because they're on a high. They really are. They play some good football, but it's goals that count, and we've scored 3 good goals today, and really a good performance with a few changes in the team, so really pleased with that.
If you can't deal with it, you're in the wrong job. That was the assessment of Jack Ross after fans chanted, "You don't know what you're doing," during Sunderland's draw at Bolton last weekend. So his decision to restore Max Power to the side should be commended. A wonderful effort to add to his Carabao Cup winner at Sheffield United, having been dropped at the end of August. After continuing last season's trend of drawing too many games, the pressure's always there for the Sunderland manager. Even though his side have now scored in 32 consecutive home league games, 1 is rarely enough for them. So when Luke O'Nien hit the post, there could have been an edge about the crowd, especially when he had another effort brilliantly saved by Lee Nichols. But the Roker roar was in full voice moments later. O'Nien chipped in with 8 goals when he helped Wycombe to promotion from League 2 in 2017. His clever lob didn't need goal line technology to confirm it went over, a goal he seemed to enjoy. Sunderland had further chances to put the result out of reach. The persistence of Lyndon Gooch created another opportunity for Max Power. Once again, though, Nichols coming to MK Dons' rescue. After that miss, the Dons were quickly back in it. Paul Tisdale described his own team's situation as serious stuff after back-to-back defeats. But George Williams' bundle goal 10 minutes after the restart was the closest they came to a comeback.
At St Andrews, Doncaster were aiming to achieve something no League One side has managed this season. A point from an away fixture at Coventry. A near miss from Niall Ennis early on suggested they were capable. Coventry have made their finest start to a season in decades. A win here would have meant their best start since the 1930s. But shortly after this miss from Geordie Hawula, St Andrews was suddenly enveloped in a Great Depression. After a lovely dummy by John Taylor, Ben Whiteman found the corner of the Coventry net. With only one win on the road since January, Doncaster's away record hadn't suggested that they'd be the ones to burst Coventry's bubble. But Rovers were creating chances to seal victory. After Carl Fadzian's mistake, James Coppinger couldn't quite deliver the knockout blow. So Coventry still had time to try and extend their unbeaten start to the campaign. Substitute Gervain Castanier forced a save out of Semi Dieng as the Sky Blues pushed hard for an equaliser. Increasingly though, it began to look like being Donny's day. Consistently getting bodies in the way, Rovers were edging toward victory. They got as close as the 89th minute. Amadou Bakayoko wasn't even in the squad last week, but earned himself some game time after some hard work in training. All credit to him and to Mark Robins for including him here. Bakayoko preserved Coventry's unbeaten run, keeping the Sky Blues happy in their temporary home.
We're pleased with the start we've made. You know, next week, after next week's game, there's a quarter of the season gone. It's incredible. So we just got to keep going, keep improving. There's some good teams at this level, and very, very tough league, and today was no exception.
What a job he's doing. You had a sweat on this afternoon, the team that you got some such fond memories of playing with, and then Doncaster, who you're currently managing under 23s. So the draw was perfect for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. No, Coventry, two of the best teams in the division for me. They both play the right way. Doncaster had a big chance at 1-0 to seal the game, to make it 2-0, but Coventry, I think, edged it in possession and created some good chances themselves. So overall, in the bigger picture, I think it was probably a fair result.
Right, give us a little bit of insight into Darren Moore and the impact he's had at Doncaster. You get to see it firsthand.
Yeah, he's come in, he's very detailed, you know, he's a very humble man, and it's a good atmosphere to work in. He's took over a squad that lost a lot of players from last year's playoff side, and slowly rebuilt the team. And you know, for me at the minute, he's overachieving. I think he's still probably 2 or 3 players away from having the squad he wants, but you know, his detail's really good, and the players are really working for him. We
did the show at Wycombe, Michael, the other week. We got to see firsthand the spirit there, and of course we know what Akinfenwa brings to him, but it's Onyedinma and Wheeler that caught your eye today.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, they've got the pivot of Akinfenwa, who they can play off at any time, but the 2 wide plays, they give them a different dimension. They're very direct. They can press high if they want as a group, but when they have a low block and defend deep, them 2 can get them up the pitch, and they just get them throw-ins, free kicks, anything, and just take the pressure away from the team.
Yeah, and Gareth Ainsworth, of course, self-styled, wild thing. Would you like the Lincoln fans to be watching? Is there any nickname you'd like your time now?
Probably not. My wife probably calls me a little bit of a flatline, because you wouldn't know if we've lost, won or drawn. So. Yeah, I think I do most of my work during the week.
OK, Lincoln fans, you heard it here first. Flatline, that's what he wants to be called. Next up, 3 quick trips to see the Posh, the Gas and the Shrews.
Luckily for Fleetwood, keeper Alex Cairns was on his toes in the opening minute at Shrewsbury as Sean Goss tried to produce goal of the season. Welcome to the match. The Shrews were looking lively, and no one more so than Callum Lang, who teased and tormented the visitors' defence before putting the ball on a plate for Ryan Giles, whose finish didn't quite match the build-up. The home side couldn't hit the target at one end, but they did at the other. Lang really unfortunate to put the ball into his own net as he tried to clear Jimmy Dunn's header, and suddenly the Cod Army were on the march. Joey Barton's men have made their best start for 6 years, and with 7 goals in their last 3 matches, they were always going to be full of confidence up front, a point underlined beautifully by Josh Morris. Their away form hasn't been quite as impressive as their work at the Highbury Stadium, but they put that right when Paddy Madden continued his scoring hot streak with a smartly taken 3rd.
Rotherham were hoping to become the first team to win at Bristol Rovers in the league all season. But Ansi Yakola was equal to Jake Hastie's effort to take the teams to the break all square. The home side knew a win might leave them in the playoff positions come 5 o'clock. Their budding promotion challenge fired by a striker who's a bit special. Johnson Clark-Harris has been looking unstoppable. His 7th goal in the last 8 league games came against one of his former clubs, and had Rovers looking good to cap a successful September by making it 11 points from 15 this month. They'd have been sitting pretty if it wasn't for a fine save by Daniel Everson, denying Liam Sercombe before Alfie Kilgore put the rebound over the top. The Gas had to be careful though. Rotherham drew a blank last time out, and it was a year since they last failed to score in successive matches. Sub Matthew Olosundi tried to inspire a comeback, only to find Yakola just as agile as Everson. Both goalkeepers had distinguished themselves, but arguably the best stop of all came as the contest ticked into time added on. Tom Nichols making the running with a deflected effort that fell to Victor Adebayejo. Everson had his angles exactly right to ensure Rovers would have to be content with a 1-goal winning margin.
Peterborough came into this one as the top scorers in the Football League with 20 goals. It took them until the 29th minute to make it 21. It was worth the wait. Marcus Maddison powering one into the top corner. Not a bad strike from a player who is predominantly left-footed. Wimbledon's preparations had been thrown into disarray as manager Wally Downes was suspended by the club for a breach of FA betting rules, and they were soon in even further trouble as Mo Issa made it 2-0. Blindingly quick feet from the striker and the finish of a man who is supremely confident. In Downes' absence, his assistant Glyn Hodges was in charge of the side. It was his job to fire his men up at half-time, something he clearly managed to do. He also introduced Mitch Pinnock as an early second-half substitute. It wasn't long before that decision paid off. Pinnock shot from distance, somehow squirming underneath Christy Pym. The Dons were without a league win this season, and their record on the road was terrible, having lost all 5 away games so far. But they showed some fighting spirit 10 minutes after making it 2-1. They thought they'd made it 2-2, only for Joe Piggott's header to be ruled out for offside. And that proved to be crucial as Posh restored their 2-goal lead. Josh Knight intercepting a pass and driving forward before playing in Issa, who scored his 2nd of the game. He, alongside Maddison and Ivan Toney, have scored 22 of Peterborough's 23 league goals this season. But the Dons weren't quite done. Last season they showed what they were made of to avoid relegation and will need more of the same this time around as their League One place looks under threat again. Anthony Wordsworth's goal 12 minutes from time gave some hope of rescuing something from this match. But it was promotion chasing Peterborough that looked like they would get the next goal. Toney denied by the bar. Wimbledon still without a win. Darren Ferguson's side back to winning ways after losing at Doncaster last weekend.
The only thing you can say about Peterborough is Toney only hit the bar. That's literally as exciting as I can be about him. Unbelievable. Still just 1 goal hasn't been scored by the front 3. So we have to just share it about. And we probably haven't talked enough about Fleetwood's good start.
Yeah, they've been brilliant. You know, when you've got Paddy up front, he's prolific. He's been prolific at this level for 5 or 6 seasons, and I think their recruitment this summer is the difference. Josh Morris, Danny Andrew down the left-hand side, Paul Coots in the midfield, and to get Jed Evans back again to chip in with the goals. And him and Paddy are rotating at the minute, but they've really added some quality that's proven at this level.
I wonder though, and they have had a nice balance of games, but if you look at the next 4 that are coming up, Ipswich, Sunderland, Burton, Coventry, and I think that's when we probably would start to get very excited about their prospects if they can navigate through them with a decent points haul.
Yeah, if they come through them with you know 2 or 3 wins, they'll really see where they're at in comparison to other top teams in the division.
Now, Michael, help me out here. Give me the manager's take on Johnson Clark-Harris, because we're always praising him. It's usually Ollie won't shut up about him when he's here. Just tell me why he's so effective at this level.
Well, you can see in the clip there and the goal he scored today, he's obviously very aggressive. He has got decent pace, very direct, and I think the biggest compliment I can give him today with the goal is how early he took it. He didn't give the keeper an opportunity to get stand and get in his set. He did it really early and give him no chance.
Season before last, Maddison at Norwich in the Championship, he tended to score important goals. It's also a thing that he has. We see it again today. We've seen it 2 or 3 times this season. It's not just how many he scores, it's when he scores them. He's got bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you have them type of strikers who score a couple of goals when it's 3 or 4-0. But he's got that knack of scoring winning goals, and whether it's like a 1-0 or they nick a 2-1. And they're absolute dynamite, especially if you're looking to get promotion.
Thank you very much for your insight there, Flatline. Still to come, last week's Team of the Weekend, Oxford United, who had an amazing midweek, and they were hoping to carry on the party at Gillingham when Gillingham arrived at the Kassam.
Did you bring the bibs?
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
We never know what's around the corner, which is why Go Compare now gives £250 free excess cover for when the unexpected happens.
Shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Ooh. Did somebody say just eat?
And there we have it. Solid at the back, strong in midfield, terrific up front.
Prices that take you back. Celebrating 100 years of great value this month at Tesco.
You've done it all. You've broken every code and pulled the rebel to the floor.
4.3 million men in the UK experience erectile problems. Viagra Connect is available without prescription.
Some saw us as strange, as troublemakers, as an embarrassment. All we ever saw was a team.
To the hip, hip hop, you don't stop the rockin' to the bang, bang, boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie beat. I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang. Let's rock.
Lady Million Empire, the new fragrance by Paco Rabanne. Fly Ryanair, Europe's low fares, low CO2 emissions airline from just $14.99. Book Ryanair today.
Florence by Mills. Makeup by Becca. Scented palettes by Too Faced.
Advantage Card Points by Boots. Until Monday, get £10 worth of points. Order and collect or buy in store.
With Xero accounting software, you can spend less time on your VAT return and more on what you love. Xero. Get making tax digital ready.
I'm glad I caught you.
Peter.
Peter, the amazing new iPhone is here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
With unlimited data.
Oh, shame I can't get it all on the network I want.
Who says you can't? Who? I don't know. You can get it all on the UK's #1 network, EE. Look at that camera.
Nice, but isn't all this a bit much?
Not even this is too much, Peter. Unbelievable iPhone 11 Pro. Unlimited data, unrivaled network.
Introducing the new Transit Custom plug-in hybrid. Ford Commercial Vehicles, backbone of Britain.
Bring style home with an exclusive brand sofa from DFS, like the French Connection Zinc with its mid-century looks, and the Jules Patterdale sofa with its heritage print and hidden details. And like all our sofas, it's handmade to order. DFS.
New Corsadil Complete Protection. If you see traces of blood when you brush, do you choose a toothpaste for healthy gums or strong teeth? You don't have to choose. New Complete Protection from Corsadil has 8 specially designed benefits for healthy gums and strong teeth.
New complete protection from Corsidil.
Money, just because I'm lying on a sunbed doesn't mean I don't know exactly what you're doing. Alfie, you thought I'd be too distracted, didn't you? What with 2 kids and my mum to keep an eye on? Well, you're wrong. Now I see where every penny of you goes. Your days of hide and seek are over, Money. That's our game, not yours. The new spending feature in the Barclays app. Make money work for you.
As experts, they know their cars.
Don't like it.
As drivers, they should know better. Brand new 5th Gear, Thursday at 9. New to Quest and Quest OD.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. A final League One roundup sees Southend looking to build on their first win of the season. But we start with the Cup giant killers Oxford United, who hammered West Ham on Wednesday.
Gillingham manager Steve Evans reckons Oxford scored a couple of lucky goals in their 6-0 win at Lincoln. His comments didn't go unnoticed among the Oxford dressing room. Team talk sorted, it took just 10 minutes for James Henry to fluke the first. Make your own mind up as to whether that was fortunate or not. Somehow Oxford managed to plunder 4 goals past West Ham on Wednesday night too. And someone must have really been looking down on Henry, who played in Matty Taylor. A hit and hope or genuine skill? Well, it's 3 goals in 3 games for him either way. While Oxford were scraping past Premier League opposition, Gillingham had a full week to prepare for this game, but the match was effectively over as a contest inside half an hour. Josh Ruffles converted to left-back during Michael Appleton's time as manager, crossed for Henry to make it 6 for the season. That was goal number 13 in 3 games for Oxford. Unlucky for some, and it could have been more. Henry scored a double against Tranmere 2 weeks ago, but the post denied him a hat-trick here. Maybe Oxford were a little overconfident after that, and a mix-up almost let Gillingham in. Sub Ollie Lee couldn't find a way through, and that was enough for free-scoring Oxford to make it 5 clean sheets in a row.
Despite all of Bolton's problems this season, it's Portsmouth who are strong contenders for the most miserable set of fans in League One. Had Will Buckley given winless Wanderers the lead at Fratton Park, the natives would have gone into meltdown. With only 1 league victory themselves, the Pompey faithful are furious with what they've seen from Kenny Jackett's side so far. Against relegation certainties Bolton, a 58th minute penalty finally gave Portsmouth a chance to break the deadlock. John Marquis fouled by Jack Hobbs. Brett Pittman placed the ball. His spot kick was in keeping with the way things have gone at Fratton Park so far. Mercifully for Pittman and Pompey, salvation was just around the corner. 7 minutes later, this towering header spared the strikers' blushes. Portsmouth fans will hope it's the start of better things to come.
Southend are still looking for a new manager, and Henrik Larsson remains interested enough to make a visit to Roots Hall. The great striker saw Accrington do most of the attacking. Sam Finley's deflected shot, keeping Mark Oxley on his toes. And after the interval, more of the same, and Larsson would have surely admired the Stanley move that led to Colby Bishop's 5th goal of the season. Jerome Mapoko with the composed assist. Whoever replaces Kevin Bond in the Shrimpers' hot seat will need to unearth a striker quickly. But the home side's desire to get back into the game took a wrong turn when Nathan Ralph lunged in on Finley. The result, a 2nd yellow card for the defender, and Southend's hopes of following last week's first win of the season at MK Dons were fading fast. Instead, Accrington cruised towards a first away success, complete with a first clean sheet anywhere since January. And they should have done so with room to spare, but Sean McConville's late header was palmed away by Oxley. It's now officially Southend's worst ever start to a season, and caretaker boss Gary Waddock called for a new manager to be named as soon as possible.
Well, more action and less chat on Clesta as always. But we've got to go back to your Oxford United. I still say that because you enjoyed such great times at the helm of this club. They're a very different club now. It's such a churn of players and a rebuild that's really clicked.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. The squad that's been put together by Carl and all his staff is a squad that you probably expect to be competing at the top end of the league. And, you know, obviously the last 5 or 6 results with the clean sheets and the goals that they've been scoring probably indicates that they're going to have a really, really good season.
Henry, the hero again today, but it's all over the park, isn't it, Gary? There's 16 goals without reply in this run.
Yeah, I think he's a top player. You know, he's been a top Championship player for years. Fosu's a big threat as well. You know, he glides past players and he can finish, and he's got that end product, and it's all coming together. And
as you pointed out, there was decisions to make when you're in such a good, nice decisions, but made the changes and then beat West Ham United, but then switched back to almost the same team that, sorry about this, but beat Lincoln 6-0.
Yeah, to make 5 or 6 changes, beat a Premiership team really comfortably, and then come back to the weekend and make all the changes bar one again just shows that you've got that strength in depth and you've got the trust in the players and they're producing for you. I
should have said luckily beat Lincoln. Steve Evans said there was a couple of lucky goals in that 6-0. Listen, I'm not going to criticise him. I'm just saying, as a manager to you, forget about that. Are you careful about your P's and Q's going into a game? Don't give the opposition manager something to pin up on the notice board.
Absolutely. I think that's the last thing you want. You don't want to give them any motivation or any more motivation than they need already. And it's the same with your team. You don't want to give too much information away, whether it's people who've had knocks, injuries, whatever it may be. It's about, you know, keeping a low profile and going into the game full of confidence.
More than just the 90 minutes. OK, let's take a little look at the table. Ipswich maintained their 2-point lead and their unbeaten record. Congratulations to them. Wycombe then jump into second after their first away win of the season. None of the top 9 going into the weekend were beaten. Bolton and FC Wimbledon are still waiting for their first win, with the bottom 3 all losing. Portsmouth pick up just their second win, and that climbs them up to 19th. But they do, of course, let's not forget, have those games in hand. Right, League 2 now, and we start our first round up with a real bang. Second met third as the Railway Men of Crewe rolled into Cheltenham.
League Two's top scorers, Cheltenham's opener against Crewe, maybe among the scruffiest goals they've scored this season. Jacob Greaves' header rebounding kindly for Gavin Riley, who collected his 4th goal of the campaign. Two sides who like to play attacking football, goals always looked guaranteed in this one. Crewe thought they'd equalise through Chris Porter. This one, though, ruled offside. Crewe remain very easy on the eye, and their successful brand of two-touch football did eventually lead to an equaliser from Harry Pickering's pass. Porter claimed his 2nd goal in as many matches. The second half saw Cheltenham raise their game. Riley continued to make the most of kind bounces and bobbles. This effort eluded 3 Crewe players before trickling just wide. Perry and G had no better luck trying to contain the unpredictable Riley. His foul on the Robin striker earned the Crewe captain a 2nd yellow card with 20 minutes still to play in the 90. If Cheltenham could take advantage, the leadership of League 2 would be theirs. But suddenly, they lost their Midas touch in front of goal. First, informed Ryan Broom couldn't beat Will Jaskalainen. The keeper also stood firm as Alex Adai caused problems. Jaskalainen ending the game as Crewe's key man as they settled for a hard-earned point.
I just said to the boys there, point gained or 2 dropped. Some mixed reactions, you know. I think up until 65, 70 minutes it had been 2 dropped. I think in the end you've got to be happy to come somewhere that are undefeated 3rd in the league and get something from the game.
The goalies kept them in it in the end, and I think that's quite clear. So I think they're delighted to get out of here with a point in the end, and I thought it was 2 good teams. Like I said, they moved it well. We were slightly disappointed that we didn't quite move it as quick as what we'd like, but I think the amount of chances that we created, particularly second half, I think we could have easily gone on and won it.
Exeter City were the only unbeaten side in League 2 as they welcomed Grimsby to St James Park, and they started confidently with Lee Martin twisting and turning before seeing his shot beaten away. The Mariners were licking their wounds after a 7-goal humbling at the hands of Chelsea in the Carabao Cup midweek, but bounced back with Ethan Robson supplying the finishing touch to a training ground routine that gave the visitors the lead. Grimsby have a knack for scoring in the second half. 14 of their 16 goals had come in the second period, and they continued that prolific trend after the break when Max Wright tangled with Dean Moxey, penalty awarded, and Moses Ogbu eventually stepped up to make it 2-0. Great spot kick, even better celebration. The travelling fans were soon head over heels as well, with Grimsby scoring a third, Ogbu with the delicious first touch and assist for Robson to fire in his second of the match. Michael Jolly's side cruising, and that painful defeat at the Bridge becoming a distant memory. The Grecians pulled one back in added on time through Ryan Bowman, but their unbeaten record is gone. They'll need to get back on track. Next up is a top-of-the-table clash at Crewe.
It was a relatively short hop down the M4 for a Newport side who've only lost once on the road since March, and they settled comfortably here as Joss Labadie almost scored. At the start of the day, only Cheltenham has scored more goals in League Two than Swindon, but Newport's defence has been outstanding this season. It was a case of irresistible force met immovable object. Nothing makes a manager happier than when a corner routine works, and practice made perfect here as Mark O'Brien collected his first of the campaign again. This was definitely not going according to plan for a Robins side who'd won 4 of their last 5, and they were so nearly back in it when Lloyd Isgrove went sniffing the equaliser. Nothing doing there, but plenty happening at the other end as Michael Flynn's side wrapped up the win. Jamil Matt with the goal that really clipped the Robins' wings.
Forest Green Rovers have been heavily reliant on their defensive prowess this season, having seen last season's 2 top scorers leave. So when Matt Stevens scored his first league goal since February 2016, they had another 87 minutes to extend the best clean sheet record in the top 4 divisions. But this was a performance where everything just clicked. Aaron Collins was considered a big prospect when he joined Wolves on Newport 3.5 years ago. 8 moves later, he's rebuilding his career again with Rovers. This his first goal for them. That was the first time they'd scored more than once in a league game this season, and before half-time they'd added a third. Ebu Adams with his first for the club, also his first in the EFL. It's been a tough start to life in the Football League for Salford, but Forest Green had similar struggles in their first season 2 years ago. They're absolutely flying now though. Stevens with his second, and for the second game Salford let in 4. How they must have wished they'd failed their pre-match pitch inspection.
Yeah, it was a great away win for Newport. I'd argue maybe only the 3rd best in that package. It was such a high quality of away performances. And Forest Green, when we know what they've been like at the back, finally happened for them up front.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've got an incredible record already. I think 8 clean sheets in 11 games, better than anybody in any of the 4 divisions.
Wow.
But the style is impressive to start with. They start from the back, they go through the third. They've struggled to score goals. We talked about before about being between both boxes, but today it came together for them and they got the 4 goals.
Absolutely. Our Mind Charity Team of the Week, though, Grimsby Town. We were fairly unanimous on this. We were thinking Blackpool, but we went for Grimsby Town. Listen, there was no shame in losing to a team like Chelsea 7-1, but it was such a big occasion. The bounce back like that today and the quality throughout, especially the goals and especially Ogbu and Robson.
Yeah, he's freshened it up, hasn't he? You know, he's left out Green and Hanson the front 2 from
Look at this. Oh.
Brought some youth into the team in Wright, Akeem Rose and Ogbu, and yeah, Robson's got a bit of quality with that left foot. It's a great goal, and that second goal, it's a great team goal on the counter-attack, and the tactics work because Exeter are unbeaten at home before that, and they've went there and they've got the win, so it's a great result for them.
You're totally right. The first goal in the counter-attack is tactically brilliant today after such a big week. So our team of the weekend, and we're wearing the badge because of that. Right, after the break, our last 2 trips to League Two, including Carabao Cup heroes, Colchester United in Crawley Town.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
At LV, our home insurance comes from the heart. It's not just about giving you a personal claims handler to take care of you all the way. It's about looking after you in other ways too. Like when you go direct to us, buy online and get a massive 25% discount. To see how much you could save from a Which recommended provider for home insurance, go direct to lv.com.
The new Grandland X Hybrid 4. For the convention followers. For the rule breakers. For those who want it all. And then some. It's all you, it's all Vauxhall. Grandland X Hybrid 4. We're all hybrids.
1 out of 2 women say sex can be painful. The #1 cause? Dryness. So Vagisil Pro Hydrate relieves dryness for more comfortable sex.
The sale is now on at Curry's PC World.
Save up to £110 on selected Beko appliances, like this 8-kilo washer, just £189, or this tumble dryer, just £199. Plus, save up to £250 on these smart Sony 4K Android TVs, with pin-sharp definition on fast action and Google Assistant built in, from just £599. Save £100 on this Acer Aspire 5, with Intel Core i5 processor and 256GB SSD, just £499. And get better than half price on this HP OfficeJet, with a 4-month instant ink trial included. Only £39 at Curry's PC World.
And the business of chip.
Oh. Shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Ooh. Did somebody say just eat? Did somebody say just eat? Hey, hey. Did somebody say just eat?
She's not that hungry.
Just kidding.
Did somebody say just eat?
Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October. Find out what you need to do to prepare at gov.uk/Brexit.
Fly Ryanair, Europe's low fares, low CO2 emissions airline from just $14.99. Book Ryanair today.
Are you totally ready for a healthier mouth? New Colgate Total toothpaste with a breakthrough formula helps fight bacteria on your whole mouth so that your teeth, tongue, cheeks and gums are protected for up to 12 hours. New Colgate Total also delivers effective enamel protection and cares for sensitive teeth. New Colgate Total for whole mouth health.
Like Ladbrokes, I'm big into sport. One out. If you're big into sports, Ladbrokes have a big offer for you.
Bet £5 and get £20 in free bets when new Ladbrokes customers use promo code 20FREE.
Right, who wants to play? Don't run away. Ladbrokes, where the nation plays.
And there we have it. Solid at the back, strong in midfield, terrific up front.
Prices that take you back. Celebrating 100 years of great value this month at Tesco.
We asked employees why they're here at Amazon.
I'm here because it's flexible for my family.
There's fantastic benefits to having the job.
4 days a week, 3 days off, great for our family life.
I'm here because I like the people that I work with.
I bake cakes every Tuesday. Oh, Donna's cakes. Beautiful.
We have targets, of course we have. Play hard, work hard, have fun whilst we're doing the job.
Come see for yourself. Book a tour.
If they don't pull together, there'll be a price to pay.
Anything can happen out there.
And the price could be their lives.
This is crazy.
Brand new Yukon Men, Monday at 10 on Quest and Quest OD.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. Let's not waste a second to Crawley, Macclesfield, Stevenage, but first Scunthorpe.
Two teams who both went down from League One last season have fared rather differently so far. Bradford kicked off in the top 6, Scunthorpe in the bottom 2. So, of course, the Iron struck first. JB Ward's shot blocked by the hand of Kelvin Miller. Referee Robert Lewis emphatic in his penalty decision. An equally certain Ward's spot kick. The Northern Irishman on the mark on his Scunthorpe debut. But the home side's prospects of a much-needed win soon took a tumble, just like Matt Palmer did after Matthew Lund's reckless lunge. Palmer limped off soon after, but Lund, who had a loan spell at Bradford a couple of years ago, was on his way immediately. With 70 minutes against 10 men, Bradford must have fancied an extension to their decent run, but Clayton Donaldson marked his 600th career appearance with a remarkable miss. And the Bantams huffed and puffed a bit more before they did finally equalise. Centre-half Porty O'Connor, the somewhat unlikely goalscorer, on the end of Harry Pritchard's cross. Recent form and the extra man now made a Bradford win seem probable. Instead, Scunthorpe striker Lee Novak returned from injury to be the hero when he cleared Donaldson's effort off the line to earn the home side a very useful point.
Having knocked Stoke out of the Cup in midweek, Crawley came crashing down to earth with a bump, thanks to a thump from James Clarke on 14 minutes. Clearly Walsall hadn't read the script. Gabriele Cioffi's side have been going along very nicely, thank you, in League Two, especially at home. But things went from bad to worse when Elijah Adebayo made it 2 with his first of the season. The home side looked to be heading in for the half-time cuppa with a little momentum though, when Mason Bloomfield won a penalty when he took a tumble in the area. Up stepped one of the Carabao Cup shootout heroes, Ashley Nathaniel George, and the comeback was very much on. For all of 2 minutes, which is all it took for the Saddlers to restore their 2-goal cushion. The quick feet of Wesley MacDonald had been a pain in the proverbial as far as the home defence were concerned, and they just couldn't keep him out. This was a game packed with quality strikes, and the Red Devils produced one of their own. The trouble was Josh Payne's long-range effort came a little too late to save his side, as Walsall held on for an impressive win.
After Colchester's sensational success against Spurs midweek, ironic that a former Tottenham youth player should exact some measure of revenge at Moss Rose. Neatly done by Paddy Osadebe, firing Macclesfield in front. The team who'd not won in 5 striking a big blow to their opponents' prospects of a 3rd successive league win. And things threatened to get worse for the U's when Theo Archibald picked out Arthur Nyahwa. Dean Gherkin to the rescue. The Silkmen enjoyed the better of the first half, but just as they started to think about taking a well-earned break with the lead intact, Colchester ripped up the half-time team talk. Theo Robinson's 3rd league goal since signing on loan from Southend meant John McGrill's men could start afresh. They improved after the break, but were on tenterhooks until the very end, forced to defend a Macclesfield corner. Fleetingly, Fiacre Kelleher thought he'd nabbed that long-awaited victory, but ref Chris Pollard's final intervention ensured both teams had to settle for a share of the points.
The only side without a win in League Two this season, Stevenage had to hope that the old adage about derby games and the form book came to pass against Cambridge. Sure enough, they took the lead against their near neighbours, Jason Cowley deflecting in a shot from Elliot List. But Borough have a wretched record in this fixture, and it wasn't long before Cambridge had them on the ropes. George Taft's header began a period of sustained pressure on the EFL's bottom club. Cambridge have tended to do better away from home this season, and they dominated the second half of this encounter. Stevenage's luck was just about holding as Paul Lewis struck the frame of the goal. Mark Richards also had a leveller disallowed for Cambridge. It proved too much for Stevenage to handle. According to manager Mark Sampson, nerves eventually got the better of Borough. They retreated deeper and deeper toward their own goal. Sam Smith's eventual equaliser had been coming for some time.
Little bit of time left. Want to go to Darrell Clarke, who 3 wins in a row since he's been on this show, so we're taking a bit of credit for that. But you moved up, of course, side by side with him from League Two to League One in promotion, and many battles, didn't you?
Absolutely, well organised, hard to beat. In fact, they were a little bit of a bogey side of ours over the couple of years that we came together. You know, there's no doubts. Obviously, he's got very much good credentials there, and you know, I'll fully expect to see them climb the league.
His namesake, some would say family member not proven, scored a bicycle kick last week. Clark's then scored this absolute screamer this week. What do centre-backs think they're doing this weekend and this season here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a fantastic strike, and he's brought in a couple of players with him from his days at Bristol Rovers, obviously. Sinclair in midfield, and obviously Clark's got the ability to do that. I don't think it's the first time, obviously, you mentioned last week, but he's a player that can come out because he's also played right back at times.
And you can always trust your family. I'm so excited to see Jamie Ward back in football, and what a journey it's been to get there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of him in the summer. He had 2 weeks at Doncaster on trial, and out of all the trialists, he was a standout player for me. He works his socks off and signs for Scunny on Thursday, wins the penalty and scores a goal on his debut, and the Scunthorpe fans will really appreciate his work rate. His professionalism, not only that, his technical ability is right up there.
Good to see. Now, our final package before we run out of time. 4 games, starting with a struggling Morecambe.
Morecambe manager Jim Bentley took some flack from the fans during the club's defeat at Oldham last week. So Jordan Turnbull's opener for Northampton Town certainly did nothing to ease the pressure at the Globe Arena. The 24-year-old had only scored 2 league goals in his entire career before this match, but had a taste for it now, doubling the Cobblers' lead. Keith Curle's players seemed keen to get the result wrapped up by half-time as they pushed for a place in the top 7. Andy Williams couldn't have gone much closer to putting them out of sight. And he was involved again in the second half in setting up Nicky Adams, who had similar trouble with the frame of the goal. Bentley's team fortunate to still be in touch, but Morecambe displayed the determination he called for pre-match, with Adam Buxton deftly selling a dummy, then putting his weight behind a shot which had the team who'd lost 5 of their last 6 league matches in position to mount a remarkable recovery. In the 3rd minute of stoppage time, the Shrimps were still full of running, and George Tanner's deflected cross was helped on to the evergreen Kevin Ellison, who even at the age of 40 won't have scored many equalisers that felt so sweet. A 4th straight defeat averted.
Leyton Orient's interim head coach Ross Empleton announced this week that he'll step down shortly as the club step up their search for a permanent manager, and this was a decent start to his farewell. Just 3 minutes gone when Connor Wilkinson's cross was met by an unmarked Josh Wright. Empleton will revert to his former role as assistant coach, with the O's without a win in their last 6 league games, and their bright start didn't last here. James Gibbons' shot parried by the unlucky Dean Brill into the path of Scott Burgess. And 5 minutes later, Port Vale led. A corner not dealt with, and Leon Legg took a swing from 6 yards to raise the prospects of a first away league win of the season for John Askey's side, which was still very much on the cards on the hour when the hosts equalised rather against the run of play. Another poor clearance, but plenty of quality about Wilkinson's finish, which turned out to set something of a benchmark as the visitors responded in kind to lead again 5 minutes from time. Jake Taylor finding the top corner with surely the last word. None of the previous 26 league meetings between these teams had been drawn, but in the 4th of 6 minutes of stoppage time, Jordan Maguire-Drew crossed, and Wright finished what he'd started with a more difficult header this time. And by full time, the fans were chanting Empleton's name.
A meeting of 2 of the pre-season promotion favourites who've both so far failed to live up to the hype. In a backroom reshuffle, Mansfield goalkeeper Conrad Logan now doubles up as a goalkeeper coach. After he kept Joel Grant at bay, Mansfield didn't read the danger, and no coaching manual in the world could tell you how to save that effort from Connor Grant. It's no secret the Stags have been well backed by their owners, but this is their worst start to a season in 12 years. It could have been even worse if George Cooper had kept his header down. John Dempster delivered some strong words to his Mansfield players: either give in and curl up in a ball or come back fighting. They did the latter. Kellen Gordon went for goal, and some brave defending kept out CJ Hamilton. And Alex Palmer rescued the Pilgrims again to deny a certain goal for Andy Cook. He's still waiting for his first for the club. A first win in 5 for Plymouth, while Mansfield sit 8 adrift of the playoffs.
Sometimes the manager of the opposition does the team talk for you. That's exactly what happened here. Oldham's Dino Marmria claiming every time he went to Brunton Park he won. It took just 3 minutes to regret those words. Olufella Olamola continuing his excellent goal-scoring form for Carlisle. That made it 5 goals in 9 since joining the club. He was soon in a position to make it 6, worst second game of the season. It seems everyone wants to play out from the back these days, and Stephen Presley's side are no different. He might have a rethink after it almost cost his side the win. Mohamed Mahouch failing to punish the Cumbrians. Marmria this time doesn't get his win in Carlisle.
And alas, we're out of time. 10 seconds to say thank you very much, and great to have 2 active members of the EFL in the studio tonight. And you've got Manchester United under-23s on Tuesday, which is nice for you as a United fan.
Yeah, certainly a bit of family time in the morning and then prep for the game on Tuesday for me.
No time off. Here's the tables then. Exeter stay top but suffer their first loss of the season. Crewe and Cheltenham stay in 2nd and 3rd respectively after their draw. Grimsby recover from their midweek Carabao Cup mauling to jump into the last playoff spot. Winless Stevenage stayed bottom, but did pick up their 5th point of the season. In fact, the bottom 4 all drew today. 16th place Carlisle were the only side in the division to win at home today, randomly. Now, we'll be back on Wednesday with Michael Brown to go through a full round of championship action. And excitingly, we're going to be on the road every Saturday in October as we go on a real-life October quest. We start at Bristol City versus Reading next Saturday. Don't forget as well, you can download a free app, Quest OD, and you can also watch the show live whenever you want on that. Well, that is it for another weekend. A massive 102 goals in the EFL today and last night. Not one single nil-nil. Let's say hallelujah to that and relive some of them.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Want non-stop lasting matte? New lasting matte foundation from Rimmel London. Our new mousse foundation transforms to a powder finish. For a lightweight feel that lasts all day. A non-stop lasting matte for a non-stop you. New lasting matte foundation from Rimmel London.
Live the London look.
Play Ojo pay money into your account whenever you play, win or lose. Now that's fair. Play now at playojo.com, the fair casino.
Play Ojo.
In our world, even the closest become closer. That's the power of magic. Book your 2020 Walt Disney World holiday early to enjoy free dining and drinks, plus $100 Disney spending money. Book now at disneypackages.co.uk.
Bring a little taste of France to your day with the French Stack from McDonald's, featuring 2 succulent beef patties, creamy garlic mayo, and a garlic bun.
Dyson's new cord-free vacuum, powered by the latest Dyson digital motor, has a display that shows remaining runtime, and a sensor in the cleaner head automatically adjusts suction power across floor types to deep clean your home.
Busy. We'll find a space.
When you choose to buy Co-op car insurance, you're supporting a business that funds good things, like Co-op Member Pioneers, who help organise community projects and events. It's not a token gesture, it's what we do.